Facebook.
When Facebook was launched, it had to compete with MySpace. But in a matter of time, everyone was using Facebook. And as a result of it, Mark Zuckerberg is now one of the richest men on earth, allowing him to carry the company in any way he desired to go. This was working for some time. And then this happened. Why? Why is Meta failing? When Steve Jobs stepped on stage in 2007, he announced a technology that changed the world that we live in today.
And we are calling it iPhone.
Mark Zuckerberg has a similar vision.
I believe the metaverse is the next chapter for the internet. And it's the next chapter for our company too. So I've been thinking a lot about what this means for our company and who we are as we embark on this journey.
He was willing to invest everything he had into it. The companies that he had already acquired was now about to be under one great service.
To reflect who we are and what we hope to build, I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta.
Confident that this is going to work, he was willing to risk the life of his company to make it a reality. So much so that in just 2021, he spent $10 billion on this project. Just to put that into perspective, Instagram was bought for only $1 billion. That $10 billion allowed him to hire the right people for the job. From 2018 to 2022, he increased his employee count from 35,000 to 72,000 and paying one of the highest rates on the market. And it's reported that he's willing to spend over $100 billion to make all of this possible. This may have seemed as a relatively small figure when you consider at one point his company was valued at over $1 trillion. A justifiable evaluation when you consider that its user base was constantly growing, accelerated even more during the pandemic as everyone was at home and turned to social media for entertainment. There was no doubt that this instilled in him a confidence that his vision could come true, also giving him a way to pay for it. How? It's very simple. Meta makes about 97% of its money from advertisements. But why do advertisers choose them specifically? It is because of how effective it is. You see, all tech companies collect its users' data. This data allows companies to create specific profiles on individuals, allowing them to be more effective in advertising. For example, it doesn't make much sense to advertise baby wipes to a single man. However, what about power tools or cars? These profiles are what give tech companies such high evaluations, even though most of its products are free. These targeted ads allow advertising companies to ensure that the right people sees their ads. But when it comes to Meta, however, it has an unparalleled advantage. They own 3 of the biggest social media companies in the world. All of this sounds amazing. You have a man who has a vision for where he wants his company to go. Basically bottomless resources, as well as the influence to do so. So why did this happen?
Facebook's parent is planning to begin large-scale layoffs this week, affecting thousands of employees.
Lots of questions just about the metaverse, Facebook's pivot here, its total rebranding. You know, year to date, the stock's still off.
First of all, this is the worst performing stock in the S&P 500.
There are multiple reasons why. The first one started when Apple updated its users' data tracking policy. In the past, by default, companies were allowed to track its users' data. But in 2021, it gave users a choice to opt out of being tracked. And given in just the US alone, over 50% of people uses iPhones, as well as like their privacy, Facebook's abilities to use targeted advertisements was drastically hindered, and as a result, reduced their value to advertising companies. This was only sped up after lockdowns were lifted. The mass growth that most tech companies experienced during the pandemic was not sustained. As people were free to interact with each other either at work or at school, they spent less time on their devices. For the most part, things returned back to pre-pandemic levels. And this outflow of users was only cemented when people started to engage a lot more with other social media platforms. As people's attention was pulled away to TikTok or Snapchat, advertising dollars went there. And thus, its evaluation needed to be adjusted. But those are not the only reason of why the company is now worth half of what it's used to, and had to fire 11,000 people, and has plans to let go of another 10,000. The things that we just considered are the basic ebbs and flow of business. The main reason why Meta is losing more than any company within its space is because of Mark Zuckerberg's obsession with the metaverse. He has a way he wants it to be, a way he wants it to feel.
There are going to be all kinds of different spaces that people make. Rooms like the ones that we just saw, but also games and whole worlds that you can teleport in and out of whenever you want.
But in reality, we get this. Needless to say, it's a work in progress. But just in comparison, this is what Sims 4 looked like. This possibly cost around $100 million to make. And here is Gears of War, which cost $60 million. So why then did he spend $13 billion in 2022 and we get something that looks similar to the level of Roblox? It all comes down to current technology. Traditional VR headsets work like this. You first attach it to a gaming PC, which is able to run the necessary software to give you that immersive feel. Then you attach a headset to your face, which is basically a projector in a box. All the hard work is done outside of it. What Meta is trying to do is to put all of that technology inside the headset itself. This is what they're trying to accomplish. They want the headset to be able to keep track of 10 cameras. These cameras themselves are tracking facial expression, body movement, eye movement, as well as displaying a 3D image back to you in HD. And it needs to do all of this while having a respectable battery life and not overheating. They're trying to build the most advanced gaming PC on it. Needless to say, this is not easy. You see, gaming PCs are the size that they are, not simply for looks, but it is because it needs that amount of space to fit all of its components with current technology. In order to accomplish their goals, they need to leapfrog what is currently available. And that push for innovation results in other things being left behind, like having proper games, an engaging user interface, and stunning animations. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. But there's one more thing that puts it out of reach for most people. The price. If you want one of these headsets, you need to put out around $1,500. The reason why Meta is losing so much is because it's looking so much to the future that it's not able to focus on the present. As other companies focus on improving what they have currently, they're trying to build the future now, to the point of ignoring the products that they already have. If he gets this wrong, this will destroy his entire company. So why is he doing it? Does he really think that people want to walk around their daily life with a VR headset strapped to their face? And that people will put out money to buy something that they cannot afford? No, it doesn't seem like those are the reasons. What it seems like is he's trying to target this to companies. When lockdowns went into effect, Zoom's stock price skyrocketed, as everyone flocked to use the software either to get work done or for schooling. All signs at that time pointed to that is where the market was heading. The future of business would have been virtual. So he made a huge bet that the technology that he was developing would have been first incorporated into businesses and then into daily life. The same pattern that occurred with the mobile telephone. First, businessmen were using it, and now none of us can live without it. But there's one problem with all of this. We can call someone, video conference with them, or even send them an email. But still, every year, companies spend millions of dollars to fly executives around the world. Why do that when a phone call could allow you to say everything that you want? Because there's something within us that we cannot fully explain, that is innately human about shaking someone's hand and sitting and having lunch with them, that the virtual may never be able to replace. But Mark Zuckerberg is still betting that this is the future. The biggest question that we need to ask is he right? The truth is, we have no idea where the future will go. Here's an example. In the 1800s, people thought that the future would have looked like this. Hot air balloons would have traversed the skies, while steam-powered wagons would allow you to travel wherever you wanted to go. And we now know how successful that prediction was. Maybe Mark is correct. Maybe the world that we will be living in tomorrow is one where we wouldn't be able to distinguish between reality and technology. But that is something we need to wait and see. Thanks for watching.